Hello, my people. Good day to you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in every single day to listen to me on Daily Mind Shift. My name is Michael Ojola for Mindset Transformation Africa, and in today's episode, I still want us to talk a little bit about prompts, alright? Prompts and triggers. Let me anchor today's episode on this statement. Every prompt is an invitation. All right, every prompt is an invitation to transformation. Every prompt, every trigger is an invitation to transformation. That is what I want us to sit quietly to talk about. One simple but powerful truth. Every prompt is an invitation to transformation. That means every little cue, every signal, every reminder that life throws your way, whether you recognize it or not, is an opening to grow, to act differently, to choose better, to respond wiser, to become newer, to transform your life. See, most of us don't see it that way though. We think transformation has to be big, loud, and dramatic, but we sometimes even think it is something that happens after a long retreat, or after hitting rock bottom, or after the perfect opportunity finally shows up. But I believe real transformation, it really knocks like thunder. It whispers to you, it nudges your soul, it prompts your spirit. Think about your day. Just one ordinary day like today. You wake up and you see your running shoes by the door. That is a prompt. You pick up your phone before you say a single word. That is a prompt. You hear your child laugh. That is a prompt. You feel that small pinch of guilt for not calling someone that you love. That is a prompt too. Every one of those moments carries an invitation. It's not shouting. It is asking. All right. It is asking, do you want to repeat the same pattern? All right. Or you want to rewrite it? That is what the prompt is asking you. You see, transformation doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts when you respond to things differently, especially when you respond differently to the old prompt. When you take what was once automatic and you turn it into intentional. That is where your power lives. Not in grand resolutions, but in quiet responses. Let us define this clearly, because most people misunderstand it. A prompt is anything at all that calls your attention towards an action. Anything at all that calls your attention towards an action, that is a prompt. It could be external, like an object, a sound, a message, a person. Or it could be internal, like a feeling, a thought, a memory, a need. The moment a prompt shows up, it activates a fork in your behavior. React or respond, repeat or renew, ignore or engage. Every prompt carries that moment of transformation, of potential transformation within it. But most of us live too distracted to notice the fork. We go through our routines like passengers on autopilot, checking messages, eating mindlessly, complaining by habit, judging automatically. And yes, or yet, behind every automatic behavior, there was once a prompt that asked us to choose. When we stop seeing life as a series of random happenings and we start seeing life as a series of invitations, our whole consciousness begins to change, because then transformation stops feeling like a goal. It starts feeling like a rhythm. See, you don't have to search for transformation. It's already searching for you. It hides inside every experience that makes you pass. When a song stirs an old emotion in you, that is life prompting you to heal. When you feel uncomfortable during someone's success, that is life prompting you to check your envy or to expand your vision. When you get stuck in traffic and your patience is tested, that is life prompting your maturity. When you lose something valuable to you, that is life prompting your priorities. Transformation doesn't show up with labels. It shows up with lessons. And those lessons usually arrive disguised as discomfort. Every frustration, every delay, every reminder, every repetition, they are all prompts. Each one is saying, here's your chance to be different this time. See, Inside your brain, prompts are constantly firing. That urge to check your phone, that's a prompt. That whisper telling you to speak up, that is a prompt. That sudden wave of guilt after snapping at someone, that is a prompt. The mind generates thousands of what I call micro prompts every single day. The problem isn't that you don't get them, all right? The problem is that you've trained yourself to ignore the important ones and to respond to the easy ones. You answer the prompt to scroll on your phone, not the prompt to stretch and exercise. You respond to the prompt to complain on a queue, not the prompt to breathe and meditate. You respond to the prompt to argue, not the prompt to understand the perspective of the other person. So, you stay busy, but you did not transform your life. You are not transformed. You stay active, but not awake. Let me say this slowly. All right. Transformation doesn't begin with effort. It begins with awareness. If you can catch yourself in the space between your prompt and your response, you've just entered the control room of your life. That is the sacred gap, the split second between what triggers you and what you do next. That gap is the best, or is the birthplace of all growth. When you start noticing your prompts, the inner and the outer ones, you begin to design your responses. And when you start designing your responses, you start directing your destiny. That is how powerful prompts are. They are like steering wheels, invisible, but they decide the turns that your life takes. Eventually, people underestimate the small stuff, but all habits, good or bad, grow from tiny prompts repeated often. The alarm clock that wakes you, a prompt. The mirror that greets you, a prompt. The smell of a coffee, a prompt. The sound of your notification, a prompt. Now, imagine you redesign just a few of those moments. What if right after you woke up, the first thing you saw wasn't your phone, but a reminder card with your goals? What if the mirror had an affirmation written on it? What if your alarm tone wasn't harsh, but peaceful, prompting calm instead of rush? You would not just be changing your day, my friend. You'll be changing your direction, because prompts are seeds. And small seeds become forests over time. Transformation really begins with, I will change everything right now. It usually begins with, I will change this one response today. So let's make this a little bit practical. There are three ways to work with prompts in your daily life. The first one is to recognize the prompt. The second one, you redefine the response. And the third one, you reinforce the response. So the first one, ask yourself, what triggered this action or emotion? That is, you recognizing the prompt. Was it an external cue, an internal feeling, or a social influence? Once you identify it, you take away its invisibility. And that is what makes it visible. And what is visible can be managed. Then you redefine the response. Next, you choose a response that aligns with who you want to become, not who you have been. You cannot stop life from prompting you, but you can choose how to reply. If you feel angry, the old pattern will say you should lash out. The new response will say you should breathe first. If you feel bored, the old pattern will say scroll. The new response will say go and take a walk. If you feel stressed, the old pattern will say complain, while the new response will say, can you reframe what is on your mind? See, transformation doesn't need more information. It needs better responses. And finally, each time you choose the new response, celebrate it mentally or verbally. Just make sure you celebrate. Why? Because the brain learns through reward. That is how you reinforce the response. When you acknowledge your small wins, you are strengthening the neural path that leads to transformation. Do you understand me? Everything around you is whispering instructions, even when you don't see it. The arrangement of your space, the sound of your notification, the people you will follow online, the music you listen to, the tone you use with yourself, all of it are prompting you to do something. So every time you respond to a prompt, you are casting a small vote for the person that you are becoming. You don't have to change everything at once, my friend. You just have to start responding differently to what is already happening within you. Life doesn't need to be rewritten. It just needs to be reread. Do you understand me? Today, I want you to try something simple but profound for just one day, for just today. Become hyper aware of your prompt. Ask yourself this: what is this inviting me to learn?